The creature that would become Darth Nihilus was once a man, a lower level Sith Lord in fact, but something so horrific and unspeakable happened to him that his very body began to disintegrate in the dark side of the Force. In this video, we will explore what happened to Nihilus, as well as how he discovered how to survive and remain in the physical plane without a body. Welcome to another edition of the story of. This time, we will be exploring the Lord of Hunger, Darth Nihilus. During the era of the Old Republic and the Mandalorian Wars, the man who one day would be known as Nihilus lost everything he ever cared for. It was believed the man had once had a family and wealth, but it was all stripped away from him by the Jedi and the Republic during the Mandalorian Wars and the ensuing conflicts. After this great loss, the man cared for nothing, but still fought amongst the ranks of the Sith, as his only desire was to die in battle and end his long suffering. At this moment, the pain of the Sith Lord lied within, but one day soon it would emerge, more horrific than ever. The ultimate fate of the man, however, was one far worse than death. At the end of the war, the man was struck by a superweapon known as the Mass Shadow Generator. The weapon was set off by a Jedi Knight on Malachor 5 as a last stance against the Mandalorians and the Sith. Nearly all those on the planet were killed instantly, but some were unlucky enough to have survived. One of these survivors would become Darth Nihilus. As Nihilus awoke after the destruction, he found his grief to be overwhelming and likened it to a dark pit within his stomach, threatening to swallow him alive, or at least what Nihilus thought was still alive. After coming to his feet, Nihilus came across another survivor and was filled with a great hunger. A hunger for Force energy. Nihilus then used the dark side of the Force to pull the very life from his fellow survivor, as his pain and memories faded for the briefest of moments. For only a brief second, Darth Nihilus was satisfied. Eventually, however, the pain returned, now stronger than ever, as Nihilus looked around for more survivors to feed upon. Being trapped on the planet for some time, the Sith Lord devoured nearly all of those who had survived alongside him, as his hunger only grew and grew after every feast. Over time though, Nihilus would be freed from this hell, and brought to a new one, when the Dark Lady of the Sith, Darth Traya, freed him in exchange for his help in securing the galaxy for her rule. After being freed, Traya took Nihilus as her apprentice, but grew to distrust him, as she saw he would do anything to quench his hunger for Force energy, discovering that even the Sith were far less important to Nihilus than feeding. He cares nothing for the Sith, or its teachings, or the Jedi, and when the Jedi are dead, he will feed on the galaxy, the Republic, and eventually consume the Sith as well. As more time passed, with the help of another Sith Lord named Darth Sion, Nihilus overthrew Traya and stripped her of her Force abilities. It was at this point in time where Nihilus was finally allowed to feed without any restraint. Venturing across the galaxy, Nihilus first targeted Jedi, as he had agreed to carry out a Jedi purge with Darth Sion. But even the Jedi were not enough, as his hunger was seemingly unlimited. With each soul that Nihilus fed upon, his body began to fade into what seemed to be a dark abyss. It was at this moment that Nihilus realized that he would eventually die if he continued to feed, unless he found alternate means of survival. Sinister and costly means. There is no strength in the hunger he possesses, and the will behind his power is a primal thing, and it devours him, and he devours others. His mere presence kills all around him, slowly feeding him. He is already dead. It is simply a question of how many he kills before he falls. Ironically, the more powerful Nihilus became in the dark side of the Force, the more his physical body faded and deteriorated. It came to the point where Nihilus felt the end was near, and he was forced to rip his very spirit out of what remained of his ailing body. Next, in a desperate effort, Nihilus bound his spirit to his robes, but specifically his mask, in hopes that this would allow him to remain in the physical world and continue to feed endlessly. You are the darkness in which all life dies. All life exists to feed your power. After this, it was revealed Nihilus was ultimately successful and was now simply a spirit, but was allowed to stay because his soul was still attached to his robes and mask, them being physical items. It was by this ritual that Nihilus yet again cheated death. It was later described that there was nothing behind the mask of Darth Nihilus at all, but the dark abyss. Still though, Nihilus remained and continued to feed on the Jedi and Sith alike, as his power only increased. The extent of his power cannot be put into words, and his perceptions have grown as well. To him, you are dust motes in a storm, a grain upon the beach, and as insignificant as a body that orbits the graveyard of Malachor. Eventually though, Nihilus would meet his end when he was conquered by the Jedi exile, with the help of the Sith Lord he had betrayed, Darth Treya. There were rumors, however, that even if most of his spirit was vanquished, a small piece of the Sith Lord remained within his mask and could never be fully driven out, as the ritual used to bind the spirit and mask was too powerful. The power of Nihilus himself, though, was far too weak to inflict any real damage on anyone. It was believed, though, that if anyone were to find and wear the mask of Darth Nihilus, the Sith may one day return with a new host and continue to attempt to quell his never-ending hunger. So that is the story of Darth Nihilus and how he was able to survive without a body and how he became so powerful he could destroy worlds. So tell me, what are your thoughts on the Lord of Hunger, Darth Nihilus, and what is your favorite moment in the history and story of this ancient Sith Lord? Also, leave in the comments down below other stories of in the Star Wars universe that you would like to see explored. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed and want to help the channel out, be sure to hit the like button. If you would like to see more Star Wars explanation videos and stay up to date with all the Star Wars news from The Last Jedi to Star Wars Rebels, hit that subscribe button. Also, be sure to turn on notifications to see everything as soon as it comes out and to make sure that you become a living holocron today. If you would like to get in direct contact with me, follow me on Twitter, where we discuss all things Star Wars and debate with one another on the various topics concerning the universe. If you have any video ideas you want to see explored, leave them in the comments below the video with hashtag suggestion at the end of your comment so I can find it better. If you do end up leaving a suggestion, I really appreciate it and hope to one day make a full video dedicated to your question or suggested topic. Thanks again just for simply watching the video and your continued support on this Star Wars journey. May the Force be with you and have a great day.